Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Baumer HHS and welcome to our today's webinar. My name is Andreas Brandt. I'm the marketing manager of Baumer HHS and I'm glad to be your host for today's webinar. Welcome to Baumer HHS Dialogue. Today is the first day of 1 week full of information on glue application and quality control. Before we start with our today's topic on packaging production, I would like to give you some information about the webinar. All cameras and microphones are enabled during the webinar. You can use the chat function on the right bottom of your screen to ask your questions. All questions will be answered in the second part of our webinar. The full webinar will be recorded and all participants will receive a link after the webinar. Please give us your feedback when you leave the webinar. Now we will come to the agenda of today's webinar. After a short welcome from our Managing Director Percy Dengler, we start with a presentation on today's topic. In the second part, Martin Kotecki and Marcel van Meegen are here to answer your questions. Now, I wish you all an interesting webinar.
Dear participants of our today's Baumer HHS Dialogue. Dialogue is not just a headline, but a motto for a more interactive communication between you as guests and us as your hosts and technology providers. Baumer HHS, as a partner for the leading companies in this industry segment, establishes a platform for more and deeper communication. So use the opportunity to be an active part of the webinar. Ask whatever is of interest for you around the application topic. Discuss and get in-depth information from our application specialists. There is little that they haven't seen yet, so they should be able to answer all your questions. Welcome, and let's get started.
Hello, my name is Marcel van Meegen and I'm responsible for business development in packaging. So enjoy the webinar.
Hello, my name is Martin Kotecki and I'm since 18 years a Baumer HHS gluing guy. I'm a part of our business development department and responsible for our packaging applications. Please enjoy now our latest technology information in our today's webinar.
Ladies and gentlemen, our topic today is make your packaging machine ready for dotting. Marcel and Martin want to give you today some guidance how to be more sustainable and more efficient. But why can that and our today's webinar be interesting for you? Or, in other words, why does it make sense to change something? Let's have a look on the today's content. We need about 30 to 40 minutes of your time to teach you in the latest technology improvements and give you answers to the following topics. In a first step, we would like to explain you why glue dotting makes sense. In the second step, we will show you how you can switch over to a dotting mode with some very easy tools. In our third step, we will switch to Rick Pallanti, our packaging specialist and head of Baumer HHS in the United States, who will give you an idea why working with a Tesla applicator is interesting for your business. Within the fourth step, we want to show you how customers install the HHS solution and what kind of benefits they have already reached. After that, we would like to have an open discussion with you and want to answer all your remaining questions. As Andreas mentioned before, you can already enter your question during the presentation in this webinar tool. I'm starting with the almost most important question: what keeps you awake at night? Maybe your thoughts are like many others of your colleagues today. My management and I want to do something against the climate change and want to reduce the carbon footprint. My business is running well, but where should I get all these raw materials from, like glue for my packaging process? I should reduce the production costs and don't know how. Question is now how you can start to get a better sleep. We suggest you have to download first the GlueCalc app from the Apple Store or Google Play. With that tool, you can calculate possible CO2 savings, and it will also show you how much money you can save. In the next step, we will show you how to do this. When you start the app, you will find on the first page an OK button to start the calculation. In the next step, you have to enter your application settings. In our sample, we are using a carton erector with 4 glue lines on it. The length of our sample application is 30 mm for each bead. After that, we inform the app about our production data. In our sample, 80 products per minute and 120 production hours a week. In the next step, you fill in the adhesive data and your current glue costs. When you press the Calculate Saving button, you will see your production potentials in the graphic. With a 5 mm dotting, you get more than 20,000 euros saving each year, and on top, an annual carbon footprint reduction of about 80,000 kilograms. The result and the recommended production you can send to your mail address or share it with other people. And like quite often in life, sometimes less is more. And this is also the truth in gluing. Instead of squeezing glue out of the box, a dot pattern can fix the cardboard with a similar or even higher bonding strength. Okay, our calculation is done now, but this is only theory. Let's have in the next step a look in our solution center. There we can see some of the product that we need to fulfill these calculated savings.
Hello gluing friends, welcome to our Baumer HHS Solution Center here in our headquarters in Krefeld, Germany. My name is Martin Kotecki, and today I want to show you how you can react on a worldwide glue shortage, how you can reduce your carbon footprint, and how you can save money depending on your glue consumption. The answer is dotting. With our dot box, we change from line to dots with a minimum effort. A lot of customers already started their saving program with our Dotbox Kit, and they saved more than 50% of their current glue consumption. So here we can see a conventional glue application, for example a pizza carton in a line mode, and today we want to show you how you can save this with a dot mode. We are proud that we have developed our Dotbox Kit, which make a change from line to dot very easy. Just consists of our dot box and the Tesla applicator. On our simulator, we have an HMI that is driving our melter to set up the temperatures on gun and hoses, and also control classical applicators like pneumatic or our Tesla Evo gun, which can connect to a classic PLC. The PLC is driving a classical line application. To switch to a dot mode or to dotting, it's quite easy with our dot box. So we just press this button, setup button, adjust the Tesla Go in a dot mode. We choose the stitch and repeat mode and set up the dot distance we want to reach in our application. The same, of course, we can do for pneumatic applicators. Now our dot box between the HMI and the applicator is changing from line to dots. So in our diagnostic tool we show directly how much glue you are saving depending on the dot distance and the dot size. So as you have seen, with the dot box it's possible to change the line in a dot mode with electronic or pneumatic applicators. We adapt the Tesla in the Dotbox Kit, so that is something which really makes sense to run your production with an electronic gun and with our dot box.
So for us, the Dotbox Kit is something like a starting kit that gives you the chance to check your calculation in practice. The kit includes 2 Tesla valves that can be connected to Nordson or Nordson compatible gluing systems. There is 1 dot box that can drive maximum 4 glue valves and generate your dotting pattern. As well, you find in the kit different screw-on nozzles with different diameters and 2 standard packaging brackets. In case that the standard mounted 180 hose connection doesn't fit, there are also 90-degree and 45-degree hose connections included. Of course, you find also the right connection cables to solve a replacement in less than about 2 hours. Because of the low price for the starting kit, we expect that you can reach the return on investment in less than 3 months. Your current situation is maybe like this. After installing the kit, it should look like this. And that has the wonderful green effect that you don't need the compressed air anymore. There are further information how to replace your existing application material in our GlueTube channel. Just use the camera of your mobile phone to watch that tutorial and to follow our GlueTube channel. Okay, we are moving forward and solved already our second step. I hope it's clear now how you can start a change. Your local HGS gluing friend would like to help you to integrate the kit, or even made a business plan how to upgrade a complete machine or the production plant. Now let's have a look on the Tesla applicator itself. Please listen first to the head of Baumer HGS Business Development, Mr. Thomas Walter. He will speak about different application systems and can give you a first idea of the Tesla's strengths.
Dotting and stitching saves you money by reducing adhesive usage in end-of-line packaging applications. It's true that most any adhesive dispensing system can dot or stitch, but will the costs associated with the equipment outweigh the adhesive savings? Learn what can happen if you use the wrong technology to dot or stitch in your packaging applications. The service life of an electro-pneumatic adhesive application valve is usually between 50 and 150 million switching cycles. If an adhesive line is divided into 10 graduations, only 1/10 of the products can be produced before components of the adhesive applicator need to be replaced. It's simple math. Depending on what type of adhesive dispensing applicators you are using, your savings, made through stitching and dotting, may be at the expense of higher spare parts costs and downtime associated with changing them. Why don't business realize they are paying more and saving less than what they could? The answer is, many companies have become accustomed to this situation and are not aware of the high cost of the spare parts used in their hot melt applications. Electromagnetically driven adhesive applicators, such as the Baumer HHS Tesla, have a 10 to 20 times longer service life. Why do many adhesive dispensing suppliers want you to stitch or dot with your current electro-pneumatic applicators? There are 2 obvious answers. The first answer is simple. By offering you electromagnetic applicators, instead of their standard electro-pneumatic, would destroy their business model. One of the leading suppliers of hot melt systems publishes that it generates 54% of sales from spare parts and services. Why would the supplier jeopardize that? The second answer is, all suppliers have electromagnetic applicators in their stable of products. However, these have often been neglected in research and development and are no longer state-of-the-art. Most suppliers only use their electromagnetic guns when pressured, and often they only work in very limited situations. Wouldn't you like to hear about an electromagnetic gun that would meet your packaging specification and save you all the money you expected?
Thanks to Thomas. And let's switch over from Germany to Rick Pallanti in the United States. Rick is the head of our plant in Dayton, Ohio, and since many years a gluing and packaging specialist.
Hi, I'm Rick Pallanti, and welcome to our virtual trade show for PMMI. Sorry we don't see you live in Chicago, but here you are on tape here in Dayton, Ohio. This is our lab, and we're going to talk to you today about how to dot your way to a greener day using our Tesla all-electric 24-volt actuated gun. The Tesla is kind of revolutionary to the packaging industry. If you want to think about it, most of your guns you're used to are pneumatic, and a pneumatic gun requires air, and therefore it has seals. And you'll see that guns a lot of times will, out of their weep holes, will be adhesive leaking out of it due to the seals failures. Most pneumatic guns will have maybe 5,000 to 50,000 cycles before they need some type of spare part or repair. The Tesla is unique in the aspect that it's all electric, so there are no dynamic seals to fail. So on the Tesla, you're looking at a 20% longer service life than a pneumatic valve. And what's nice about it is it runs off the same 24-volt signal that your pneumatic applicator runs off of. So there's really no change for what you have to do in order to go from pneumatic to electric. This also means that you're not using compressed air any longer. Compressed air is a very expensive resource, and it's something that you have to bring to the machine, you have to bring to the gun, and a pneumatic gun will operate differently depending on what type of pneumatic pressure is coming to it. If the pneumatic area pressure drops, then the gun doesn't cycle, or it wants to string, or it wants to drool. You'll never have that problem with a Tesla gun. You'll always operate the same way each and every time. The Tesla is also very, very robust. This, I wish you could feel this, but it weighs about twice of that of a pneumatic applicator. It's a tank. It will last a very long time. So you're looking at about 1 billion cycles for this gun versus 50 million for a pneumatic applicator. Now, we talked about how to dot your way to a greener day. So what does that mean? What we're going to do is, on a packaging application, what we're going to do is take what you normally would do as a bead, which would be a solid line of adhesive, and what we're going to do is we're going to dot it. We're going to take that 24-volt signal and we're going to run it through a dot box, and we're going to break it into these dots. When you have a very long bead, there's a lot of residual heat that sits in the product. So that can lead to pop opens a lot of times. So it's kind of like you have to think about it as a jelly sandwich. If you've got a carton and both sides are glued together and it pops open and you've got glue on both sides, then you've got a cohesive failure. A lot of times that's because there's too much adhesive on the carton, and that's why you get the pop open. Going to dotting really kind of eliminates that, because now you have very individual applications of glue with the same amount of heat through that. So I'm using 50% glue, and you can still see how I'm getting great fiber tear. If you try to stitch a bead, you're still basically having just larger beads with a small break in between. So you're really not gaining that much for your application. But in this case, when we do the dotting, we're reducing glue by 50%, and we're still getting a good tear pattern. Now, you may not know about Baumer HHS, but we've been in the business for a long time. We're really known for making the carton, for making the folding carton. The application that we do is for very high speed cold adhesive gluing. Cartons like this will run anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 feet a minute. That's incredibly fast, much faster than what you normally run in general packaging. So what this does is it says that we know how to run an electric gun. We know how to make an electric gun last long. We know how to dispense the adhesive. And we've taken that knowledge and we've transferred it to hot melt technology. And that's what we've done with Tesla. In order to get the Tesla to work the way you want it to, we've developed a dot board. And what the dot board does is it takes that 24 volt signal. We're able to program it, and this can go either into the OEM box and run from the PLC and take that 24 volt signal, or we have a dot box that we can sell, and that goes in between the applications. So you can either do it inside, DIN rail mounted, or we can do it as a separate box in the system itself. But by taking this dot board, we're able to do that signal, and then we can break it into a 50%, 60%, 30%, whatever works for your application. And we can add the Tesla and the dot box to your existing application. Don't even have to change your hoses or your melter. We can just add the Tesla gun, add the dot board, and you can start dotting. Now in this application, we're showing all HHS. So what we have is we have our X-Melt unit, which warms up in about 20 to 25 minutes. That's typically twice as fast as most melters in the market right now. So you're using a lot less heat, and the way this is set up, if you want to come in and take a quick look, we've got it set up so it's got the fins, so the top portion is unheated and only the bottom portion is heated. We run that through this hose, and this hose is only 30 millimeters in diameter. Most hoses are 45 millimeters in diameter. It's like trying to wrestle an anaconda through your OEM machine. So by being able to go to the smaller diameter hoses, you're not losing anything because the hose core is the same as what it would be on the larger hose for the 45 millimeter. So it's an 8 millimeter hose core, which will give you the same flow. So you're able to get the flow and have a smaller overall profile, which is very beneficial for any type of maintenance, or if you're trying to take longer hoses through the machines. And then it comes to our Tesla gun. This whole system right now is set at 350 degrees. The Tesla with the cover on it, what this cover does is it protects you. So for incidental contact, when you're trying to change a nozzle or take this off, it's going to protect you for coming in contact with it. And that's a really beneficial safety aspect for the machine. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you something here with the Tesla gun. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 50% glue savings. I'm going to run the gun, I'm going to run the speed of this very slow. And you can see here. The Tesla is very quiet. It's almost 30 decibels quieter than a pneumatic valve. And from what you can see here, this is 50% glue savings at that speed. And you can see that it's almost still a solid line, but there's 50% less glue at that same speed as what you would have in your application as if you were doing that full bead. Now what I'm going to do is run this again. And we're going to run it at a faster speed. Here we go. And you can see here, now we've got the individual dots. And now you can start to see the individual dots as the speed increases. In some cases, you can think of dotting as a poor man's run-up. So as the speed decreases on your line, let's say that you have a collapse or something stops, you're not going to have that squeeze out that you get or that dripping, because of the dotting is going to be able to maintain that same amount of volume for each dot that comes out. They're either just going to be spaced closer together or farther apart depending on the speed. So we're going to go ahead and take this back one more time. And we're going to increase the speed. And you can see the dots spread out, but you can see that the dots have remained in the same size as we go through the whole aspect of this demonstration. So let's take it back for the final one. And move it forward a little bit, there we go. And then we're going to do the final one at high speed. And so you can see that the dots are the same no matter what the speed is on this. So you're able to have the same amount of volume every single time, no matter what your speed is. So this is a really great way to control your volume, to control the amount of adhesive that you use, and be able to still get a really good bond on your application. Now, if you'd like to know more about this, at the end of this demonstration, there'll be a chat on the website, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about this. But Tesla is the next generation of what you want to go to in your hot melt equipment. It's going to save you glue, it's going to save you air, and it's going to save you spare parts. It's going to save you headaches. It's going to make your gluing aspects so much easier than what you've been currently doing. Thanks for your time today, and thank you for visiting us here at PMMI.
Yeah, thanks to Rick in the United States, and coming back to that what he is saying about the gaskets. Tesla is running without the dynamic gasket, which you can see in the animation. This is the reason why we can reach 1 billion cycles and why it makes sense to go for dotting. Let's see in the next video what you can do with this glue valve. Before we finish now our third step, I just would like to give you an additional hint. All the improvements we talked about you can use on most of your current glue systems. But of course, Baumer HGS is using its own technology for the glue supply. With our XMAT unit, you can even improve your energy balance by 56%, depending on what kind of gluing unit you are using right now. So if you are interested in that as well, don't hesitate to contact your local Baumer HGS gluing friend. Okay, our third step is done. We have understand why the HGS equipment can be useful for the packaging industry. Before we start our dialogue, let's have a look to our fourth step, the experience in the market. Yeah, thanks to Rick in the United States, and coming back to that what he is saying about the gaskets. Tesla is running without the dynamic gasket, which you can see in the animation.
Hi, this is Victor Sheldon from Mountain View Packaging in Boise, Idaho. Our experience with the HHS Tesla guns and dotting program has been phenomenal. Our first year, we've saved right around $20,000 in glue savings by just switching over to the dotting system, as well as glue system downs was cut dramatically to about 60% than what we were having prior to our glue systems.
I hope those videos give you a help what you can do in your production. At least we would like to have also a short look to our gluing friend Tongli Wei in China. He is the head of Baumer HHS in Shanghai and helped a customer in the beverage industry. In the first step, he was doing that what we have described today in our webinar on a first packaging line. In the second step, he made a rollout plan to do the improvements for the complete factory. With the shown production data, he saved about 300,000 euro each year, and on top of that, he is after 2 years still running with his first Tesla valves. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finished our 4-step program for today. We have learned how we can make our packaging world a bit better. Packaging is always important because it is saving our food and goods that we have produced with the energy of our planet. At least we are also happy that our corona vaccine was even packed very well. I want to thank you for watching this webinar and hope that we have an ongoing discussion on the portal. For the next night, I hope that you are not awake anymore and you have a very good sleep. Thanks, your gluing guy Martin. Yeah, thank you for watching. I don't know if Andreas is coming back, but I'm just seeing here's the first question in the chat, which is asking about the viscosity where we can run the Tesla applicators. This is a quite good question because let's say the most packaging glues are in a viscosity between 1000 2000 millipascal, and this is also, let's say, the limitation for the Tesla. So more than 2000 millipascal is something what I don't want to recommend. I mean, the gun itself is still acting until a viscosity to 5000 about, but we need energy from leaving the nozzle tip to reaching the product. And for that reason, I would recommend to have more or less something about 1000 millipascal. Yeah? So maybe looking on the glue or looking on the temperature, how you drive that glue.
Yes, now I'm back on track. Sorry, my micro was muted. Yes, Martin, there's a question coming up. You mentioned that the Dotbox can only drive 4 valves. What can a customer do if there are 5 or even 9 guns have to be driven?
Yeah, so a good question. So the Dotbox, first of all, is something like really like a starting product, yeah, to check what have we made with a GlueCalc app. Yeah, so it's an idea, it's a calculation, and you can try it before you buy something. So means you can do it with 1, 2, 3, or in the kit there are 2 guns where you can try it. If you see, well, yes, exactly, it reached that what I expected. Then the professional version is at the end the dot board, what can be integrated in the machine PLC. So where we can drive in 60 guns or even more with one display or with a notebook. So with a special software to drive this dotboard. There are several options, but the box itself gives you, first of all, something to try something. If you want to keep it with this controller, in this case, we have to switch over indeed to a second version. But the professional thing is, in this case, a dot board.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. So then we have the next question. With a solution, you can reduce the glue, and in this case, also the amount of plastic material in the packaging. But it's still plastic, isn't it? Is Pierre asking?
Yeah, the traditional hot melts, yes, but I know that there is also a lot of topics on the desk of the glue suppliers. And on the Fachpark, we will present also a new concept for materials which are really bio-based. So in this case, we will solve then also to get the plastic completely out of the packaging. It's a little bit a step forward. It's not finished, but yeah, who's interested can have a look on the Fachpark then next week, where we first time present the idea.
Okay, then we have the next question from Sita. Tesla gun can work for cold glue as well.
The Tesla gun, not really. So this is definitely a hot melt applicator, but we have, of course, several other glue valves which can be driven with a dotbox in the same way. So let's say a cold glue line application can even interrupt by dotting, because also, let's say 90% of our glue applicators in cold glue are also based on the similar principle. So it's electromagnetic with different energies, let's say, or create a different magnetic energy depending on viscosity. So yes, we have not the Tesla, but we have other glue valves for the cold glue where you can do the dotting as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. So, and then I have a question maybe Marcel can answer. Can the Tesla valve run with all glues on the market available? Is Pierre also asking.
Well, it's also a bit similar to the question we had before. How is the maximum viscosity, possibility of viscosity to work with? And so it depends also on the different glues you have in the market. So if we are following some restrictions regarding the viscosity, you can use different glues, adhesives from the market. But at least finally, like with every application, at the end of the day, it's always good to know a lot about the adhesive before. And end of line can be that different glues are tested before. But if we are in the range of a good viscosity, which is possible with the Tesla applicator, then you can use different ones.
Thank you, Marcel. I get a next question. Is there more wear in the dot application than the line application due to the increase of number of cycles? Martin, is your
Yeah,
question?
so like Rick explained as well in the video, of course, when you increase now dotting, a normal applicator will go down in a very short time. But this is the difference with the electronic applicators. So they are made for high frequencies for a long time running. Means here it makes definitely sense to run in dots. So 1 billion cycles is something that will run your machine not only for weeks if you're going to dotting. With a classical pneumatic applicator, yeah, so depending on the machine speed and how long is the bead and how many dots are you getting in, it could happen that after some weeks you have to replace the first modules or some mag valves or on the top of the gun. But because of the 1 billion movements, it's something what the Tesla definitely can do. So it's even, let's say, from my experience, much better if you run that in a high frequency, because it has also a recleaning effect. If you have a frequency of 100, 200 hertz on the gun itself, it has, maybe you remember this animation. there is this movement of the needle inside, and this keeps also the gun clean from internal dirt and so on. Yeah, so for that reason, it's quite good when this is running in dotting, and it's more a benefit to run more stable.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. So then we have a question that we have actually the, let's say, shortage of glues available in the market. So, Martin.
Yeah, glue shortage is right now a topic. So we've heard from many customers and glue suppliers as well. Let's make priority lists where you can deliver the next material, all depending on a shortage of raw materials. And of course, here is also these the Dotbox or the Dotbot, helping tool to make the production more safe. And in this case, we can run that, of course, also like in the question before, with PVA glue, so with coat glues. In this case, we just have to use another glue applicator, so which is not part of the Dotbox kit. Like I said, the Dotbox kit includes the small box where you can make the dotting distance, and applicators for the hot melt. But of course, we can switch that also to coat glue applicators. So this is, it's not really a topic. Very easy.
Okay, thank you very much. So then we have one very good question from Gregor coming up, which is, let's say, from my perspective, a very interesting thing for quality detection.
Yeah.
Martin,
yeah, this is at the end a part of our 9-step program for the packaging, starting from the warehouse, glue supply to the packaging machine, melting, applying, and at least, of course, checking or the glue already there where it has to be. There are the ULT or HLT sensors which can detect the glue on the product, and especially for the packaging market, we have also a PLC version so that you can integrate that directly to your machine PLC. This is possible, yes.
Okay, so actually I get no more questions here, but I have one question. Martin, Fachpack is just before our doors, will start next week. What
Indeed,
is
yes.
the thing
Yeah,
what
so
you will show there?
That what we present there is as well, let's say the Dotbox Kit, the Dotboard you can see there in live, and what I mentioned before, when we're, let's say, switching to a world with less plastics, so where we want to reduce that as well. There are several ideas, and we made some steps forwards in the direction of bio-based materials and how you can handle these bio-based materials. That is something what we want to show on the Fachpack next week.
Okay, perfect. So there is one additional question. I have to put that. Just a second. Now we have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kuhn is asking about changing the situation in glue savings. The question is, why did not everyone change yet now?
That is a very good, very good question. Maybe it has something to do with too less marketing, but no, indeed. So we really have to present that more often to a lot of facilities. So there is, I think, for a lot of facilities worldwide, that option, like I showed this sample from Tongli, where they save a lot of money. They save a lot of glue material. So if we are sharing this to more and more people, yeah, I think that is really for that industry or can be a quite good change in the future. And I hope that more people are sharing maybe also this webinar to other colleagues and see how you can start, because it's without a risk. Yeah? So before you make a complete change in your facility, you can just try it. Let's say run it 1, 2, 3 months, and then you can make the business plan for your complete facility. So this is a program without risk. You can switch very easy and find out what we can do for your production.
And that's exactly why we are doing those webinars, even that we know that most of the companies and the production facilities even not know how much savings they can have with switching over from line to dot mode. And it's just one benefit, but if we look on today's times that everyone is looking for saving energy and saving raw materials and everything, it should be published more and more. And so, as Martin already said, spreading this information will help to make a changeover in customers' minds.
Perfect, gentlemen. Thanks a lot. There's one actual question coming back to the cold glue. If there is a demo section for cold glue application.
Yeah, so maybe you've seen this machine where I've introduced the Dotbox. There we have also the option to run the cold glue on it. Yeah.
Yes, and even more from my side, more cold glue information you will get tomorrow and the day after tomorrow in our folding carton webinars and our webinars for multi-point gluers, where we really talk about cold glue application and all that high-speed machines. So, first of all, as I have no additional question.
Was there's one here? Can we use the Dotbox with nodes and melters? That here on my disk. I'm
Okay.
just speaking about that. There was a screen in the webinar before. So the Dotbox isn't directly something between the PLC itself and the applicator. So at least it has not really something to do with the melter. So to answer that question, yes. So you can run that with let's say Nordson application systems, because it has nothing to do with the melter at the end. It's between the PLC and the glue gun itself, or it's maybe also a controller which is given a 24-volt signal to our Dotbox. It must just be a 24-volt signal for a typical bead, and we will switch over that to a dotting pattern. There are several options as well that you can add in the Dotbox, like an encoder signal, for example. In this case, it's independent on the machine speed. So right now we are expecting, or you can program a different machine speed, what your current machine is running. And with that calculation, we are generating the dotting pattern. So it means that it's a little bit switching when it's going faster and slower. But with an additional input, an encoder input, you can also be independent on machine speeds and reach always the same dotting pattern. Okay.
Yes, it's perfect. Okay, so I think we have now covered all. There's one additional question coming up. I will just share this. Is the host, Is the host also compatible to the Nordson system? Is Super asking.
The gun is compatible to the let's say Nordson hoses or Nordson compatible hoses. I know the complete market. There are other suppliers as well which are offering compatible hoses and so on, and we can adapt our applicators as well on these hoses. Right now there are not more, let's say, a Nordson spare part catalog and HHS, so we're really focused on technology. So we just don't want to offer just copy parts and offer the same technology for a different price or in different color. So our main focus is, of course, developing another technology for that market.
Okay, so thank you very much. we have, I guess, 50 minutes of high-level information about gluing for packaging industry. We'll come to the end. From my perspective, I'd like to thank Martin and Marcel for their participation and for their preparation here for our webinar. And I would like to draw your attention for tomorrow's webinars and for visiting us on the Fachpack in Nuremberg from next week, where you see Marcel and Martin personally. We're back on exhibitions well. So thank you for your participation. We will send a link of the webinar recording to you within a short time. And yes, thanks to all and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
that was from my side. Bye-bye. Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.